What is up, Tube users? I'm the Stereotypical Gamer, and welcome back to another fantastically fun games for under $15. Today, we are taking a look at one of my favorite games that actually helped me with real life skills, and that is Cook, Serve, Delicious. While the gameplay of this game doesn't have a lot to it, and the graphics are obviously pretty basic, it makes up for it by being a really good game that teaches you how to properly use your keyboard. This game is such an excellent teacher at learning where all the different letters of the alphabet are on a keyboard, because you have to use basically every single letter in this game, and that can be overwhelming. There's a lot of games out there that have a lot of different keybinds for certain interactions and stuff, and it can be very overwhelming, but this game does a great job of easing the different layers of keys. You're not going to be using every single key in each stage. You're only going to be using some, but you need to know where those keys are, and it just does a really good job of that. And I think a big reason for that is because it's a good game first. It does a really good job of kind of simulating kitchen service life, especially during the rush hours of having all these different orders be taken at once, having to multitask a bunch of different stuff, and then on top of all these orders having to do different kitchen things, like sanitizing the bathrooms, washing dishes, throwing out trash, having all that stuff combined in a frantically paced rush hour is really fun and exciting. And then you get the die down periods between 1 and 3 and stuff like that, and it just really does a good job of simulating the life of a restaurant in a fun and entertaining way. And that's the most basic trait of a good game, to be fun and entertaining. But then you take what it takes to be efficient in this game, and it makes you a better typer simply by trying to be more efficient in this game. By memorizing the keys for different orders and being able to execute those keys quickly, especially during rush hour times, you just naturally become a better typer by playing this game. And that was the kind of interesting thing about playing this game. Before I played this game, I knew how to type, and I could type well enough to get papers done on time, but after playing this game, I definitely can tell I'm a much better and much faster typer than I was before. But enough about the typing and learning aspect of this game. Let's actually get into the gameplay and why it's just a fun and entertaining game to play on its own. I think one of the best things about this game is the difficulty scale and how progression kind of works in this game. You start as a rinky-dinky one-star restaurant with a few menu items, and as you progress through the game, you get to a 2-star restaurant, then a 3-star, up all the way up to a 5-star restaurant, and there's different criterias you need to make to get up to the next star level. And just having to do all those things through the different stages is a really fun progression system that doesn't get overly difficult. I feel like some games that have a linear scaling difficulty often will sometimes just go a little bit too hard and be too difficult at some point, but this game does a really good job at just keeping that linear progression and just making it more fun as the game goes on. And it's interesting because when you start the game, you can only hold, I think, 3 or 4 customers. You have a really basic menu that is only a few button presses for each menu item, so there's not a whole lot of complexity. And then when you move up to the different star restaurants, you can hold up to 8, like we see here, and the menu items get a lot more complex, but everything still feels the same. You still feel that frantic pace that you started at the beginning. It's just on a bigger scale where you're making more money, but it doesn't feel that much more complicated, even though it infinitely is more complicated. And I think a big reason for it not being overly complicated is that you can practice each dish individually, learn the keybinds, or just customize the keybinds individually to make it more easy for you to understand what you need to be serving for that dish. And it just really works well and doesn't overcomplicate things, which so many games do when they become more difficult. And I also love that the difficulty is kind of up to you and what you decide to put on your menu, because there's definitely dishes, kind of like in real life, that are harder to make than others. And so just kind of balancing your entire menu with like some easy dishes plus some hard dishes to make some extra money while not being overwhelming for yourself, especially during rush hour times, is just a really fun kind of puzzle to figure out what is the best and most efficient menu for each day. Another thing that I love about this game is the just kind of random encounters that you can come across. While there isn't a lot, there are some that just kind of up the difficulty just slightly enough that you really kind of have to be on your toes, and it just makes for more fun gameplay. Like, one of my favorites are safety inspection days, which is not something that you typically would think as being a fun thing in just any sort of context, but it is really fun because it provides a refreshing challenge to just the normal stages. So basically how you upgrade your star level for your restaurant is you have to go through 20 days of just cooking, just going through each day from 9 to 10, cooking through 20 of those days. And I think it's 4 or 5 of those 20 days you'll have a random safety inspection. You won't know until the day comes that a safety inspection is coming. And basically all it does is a safety inspector, it comes to your restaurant, and any of the extra things that you have to do, like washing dishes, taking out the trash, any of those have to be done quicker because of the safety inspector being there. And so you just kind of want to be efficient with that. And it just adds a little bit more of a difficulty without going overboard. And it's just a perfect blend of just a random encounter that provides something new while not being overly difficult. And then another just gameplay aspect I love about this game that kind of unlocks more when you get later on and you get more menu items is just kind of planning the perfect menu based on things that are happening. Usually, like, just certain things will happen that you have to switch out your menu. Like, if you've had fish for so many days, it'll become like rotten, and so you'll have to switch out fish for something else. And then, like, depending on the weather, some items might be more popular than others. Like, if it's a hot and sunny day, ice cream might be super popular, but if it's a really cold and rainy day, it won't be as popular. So just kind of balancing what menu items will be good for the day and what menu items won't be good for the day, and just kind of combining that into a really good active menu that will get you the most cash is a really fun challenge sometimes. Now, normally this is the part of the video where I would go over some of the bad aspects of the game, but honestly, I don't think there is any bad aspects of Cook, Serve, and Delicious. Yeah, it's not as exciting as like playing Call of Duty, and the 2D graphics are kind of bland, but those aren't really bad aspects of the game. Those are just kind of design choices that aren't as entertaining as other design choices in other games. So it's kind of hard to kind of make that comparison, but it is something that does kind of lend itself to being bland. But playing this game is really fun and entertaining, and it really can, especially during those rush hours, get the excitement level of a first-person shooter. And for the low price of $2.50 right now, I mean, even just the normal base price of $10, I think is a really good price point for this game, because it's not like a full-fledged $60 AAA title by any means, but I think for $10 you can definitely get your money's worth of gameplay. But then you add on top of it that it's on sale for $2.50 right now, and it is an absolute steal for this game. And if the gameplay hasn't convinced you, or I haven't convinced you, this game does have a free demo to download on Steam, so you can try it out for yourself and see how fun and entertaining this game actually is. And I love that the difficulty in this game is up to the player. It's not like there's like an easy, medium, or hard mode. Your difficulty is based on the menu items that you have active for the day. And so if you don't know like the different things that you have to do for a certain menu item, it's just going to make it more difficult. But if you know every single menu item that you have active, like the back of your hand, and you know what keys to press for each of them, then it's a really easy game. And so I really love that there isn't difficulty scaling in terms of just easy, medium, and hard, but it's more about what the player knows about each menu item and what to do with each item. Honestly, I don't think I can think of another game that difficulty scales with the player in that way. Yeah, there's like some like AI recommended difficulties where it scales with how well you're doing in a game and stuff like that. But this game, the difficulty is all based on the player. They get to choose how difficult they want to play each day based on their active menu. And it's a small little detail that kind of just gets overlooked, but makes this game that much more realistic. Like, you wouldn't serve pizza at your restaurant if you didn't know how to make pizza, right? So serving something that you don't know actually the keybinds for just wouldn't be ideal. You would just be inefficient for that day. So it just adds that tiny bit of realism that just makes it just that much more fun. The other small realistic thing that I love about this game is having someone come in at the very last second right before closing time and wanting an extravagant meal cooked at the very last minute as you're closing up, and you have to serve them. And it's just that little thing that's a little sprinkle on top to the realism of this game. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like if you did, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.